Now, many of you might remember the tragic story of a young Nagaland air hostess, Rosy Sangma, and her nephew, Samuel Sangma, both of whom had died one after the other in Gurugram last year. While there wasn't much on the mainstream media, we were one of the few YouTube channels that had carried and extensively followed up on this story. Now there's a big and shocking development in this case that will leave you fuming with anger and contempt for those who are responsible for these tragic deaths. The preliminary inquiry by the CBI showed that Rosy was admitted to the hospital after severe bleeding and pain on 24th June last year. But hold your breath before you hear what's coming next. The CBI has found severe negligence on the part of the hospital and its doctors because in the findings it became clear that Rosy, a critical patient of vaginal bleeding, was being treated by a dentist at the Alpha Hospital who is not at all qualified for the job. Yes, Dr. Anuj Bishnoi, who is also the managing director of this private hospital and the main doctor, assigned a dentist named Anjali Ashk to Rosy's case and arrived 4.5 hours later, by when it was clearly too late. The investigation revealed that despite knowing about Rosy's serious condition, Anuj Bishnoi instructed Anjali, an inexperienced dentist, to treat severe gynecological problems and to manage the situation. So what exactly happened on the fateful Thursday of June 24th? At 10:45 am, Dr. Bishnoi had asked Rosy's relatives to bring blood from the blood bank as it was an emergency. Less than 2 hours later, at 12:30 pm, he sent a letter to the police SHO informing them that the patient who was in a critical condition had died. Later, he also told the police about a suspected poisoning case and foul play as the cause for her death and also claimed that she was not responding to the treatment. He said that she was being referred to a civil hospital for further treatment. Now, the CBI has said that Dr. Bishnoi prepared a discharge card for Rosy mentioning the time of the admission at 6 am and also mentioned about blood transfusion, a serious medical condition and gasping of breath. In the card, he also wrote about referring her to a higher center at 12 pm but actually did not refer her to any other center for further treatment. Now, Rosy's relative Samuel and his uncle were present at the hospital by her side, but it was initially also reported that Rosy died after some staff allegedly fed her with ice cream. And it is being said that Samuel or any other relative was not present at the hospital at this time. A video on social media showing Samuel being assaulted in the hospital had also gone viral. He's seen shooting the video while questioning the hospital authorities about Rosy's sudden death. But in a very tragic turn of events, the very next day, 23-year-old Samuel was also found dead in his own room. Talking to one of the regional channels, Samuel's father said that on 23rd June, Samuel's aunt Rosy was rushed to Alpha Hospital in Gurugram after she felt uneasy and a lot of body pain in the night. The initial diagnosis showed that she was low on hemoglobin and was admitted to the ICU and given oxygen, but by morning she had started to feel a lot better. The hospital staff assured that she was normal and would be getting much better by evening. On learning about her improved condition, Samuel's uncle went out for a meal while his nephew Samuel was asked to get some medicines. But when they returned, Samuel found out that the hospital staff had been feeding ice cream to Rosy. On seeing that, obviously he demanded to know why she was being fed with an ice cream. Samuel's father said that after eating the ice cream, Rosy's condition had deteriorated a lot, but the hospital authorities were very evasive about what exactly had happened to Rosy all of a sudden. Especially because they had told the family that Rosy was feeling much better some time back. The video showed by Samuel also clearly shows how the hospital authorities are not showing him one of the papers and an elderly male doctor is seen assaulting him.
Okay. मारेगा हम मारेगा 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 डॉक्टर होके मारेगा आदमी को डॉक्टर होके मारेगा डॉक्टर होके मारेगा आदमी को चलो वेट ही डिड मी वो मारो ना मुझे ना मारो ना नहीं मैं तो कैमरा में सब रिकॉर्ड है ठीक नहीं
Now, Rosy died in the hospital even as the authorities dodged Samuel's questions, and what is even more shocking is that instead of doing a post-mortem on Rosy's body, the hospital arranged for a mortuary van to carry the body without even informing her relatives present there. But even as the fight for justice for Rosy had just begun, the Sangmas were in for another shocker. Imagine the state of this family when they learned that Samuel was also found dead in his rented room in Gurugram where he worked. Samuel was found dead in his room the very next day after he shot the video in the hospital, and it was alleged that he died due to foul play by the hospital personnel. Now, I remember speaking to a lady doctor from the hospital on the phone on the very day that Rosy died. She did not wish to be named, but she was presumably the same woman doctor who was seen in the video. While she seemed reluctant to divulge more information about the case, fearing more backlash, she sounded upset at the fact that the hospital was being trolled and even vowed to never help the people from the Northeast. She told us that the hospital took Rosy in an emergency condition, and despite asking many times, they were not told about Rosy's allergies. Maybe she had a cold allergy, she said. However, she did confirm that her death did not occur due to having an ice cream. She said that the family was happy when the treatment was going well and the patient was feeling better, but when she stopped responding to further treatment, the family started accusing the hospital of negligence. When also asked why Rosy's post-mortem was not conducted, she did not reply. She did not have any answers, but she only said that she told everything to the police. The lady seemed extremely unwilling to talk, blaming the media for running a one-sided campaign against them, but at the same time refused to give a more detailed account of what exactly had happened with Rosy Sangma. She also did not comment on Samuel's assault, instead saying that she was the one who was in fact trying to help him out. Finally, after a lot of protest and a letter to Amit Shah by Meghalaya MP Agatha Sangma, a CBI inquiry was launched, and now, over a year later, these shocking investigations have come to light. The FIR of the CBI squarely blames the hospital of criminal negligence. It reads, "Inquiry revealed that Rosy Sangma had suffered pain in both hands and right leg with 8 to 10 episodes of loose motions and heavy menstrual bleeding on 23rd June 2021. She was brought by her two brothers and nephew Samuel Sangma to the Alpha Healthcare Hospital, Sector 10, Basai Road, Gurgaon around 6 am on 24th June. The FIR stated that a gynecologist was not called for 6 hours and Dr. Anuj Bishnoi entered the hospital for the first time at 10:26 am on 24th June as per the CCTV footage, even though he was informed of admitting a serious patient in his hospital as early as 6 am. 23-year-old Samuel and Rosy were like the thousands of young Northeasterners who had left their families behind in search of a livelihood. They were living and working in North India. Their story resonates with many youngsters like them, and their case is being watched closely by their own people. Rosy was working as an air hostess with Go Air in Delhi, while Samuel was working at a hotel in Gurugram. Their life was normal, just like any other two youngsters, but it all changed in a flash when on 24th June last year, Rosy started feeling ill. We don't know if you have followed this case or not, but let us know your thoughts on these shocking developments coming out of the CBI findings. You can connect with us on Instagram and on Facebook is @ReviewRon. Connect with me on Twitter @Ronak Kotecha. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you find our videos worth it. But as always, even if you don't do any of these things, thank you so much for watching this one. Please take care of yourself and those around you. Jai Hind.